Institute for Aerospace Studies. Thank you very much for coming on the programme.
Yeah, great to be here, Lewis.
So it's the end of the day of phase 2, at the end of the first or second day, depending on how you count it, of phase 2 of this military operation. What does phase 2 mean to you, and what's your assessment of what you've seen so far?
Well, I think it's important to realize, Lewis, that Israel's military operations are being integrated across all warfighting domains. That's air, sea, land, space, cyber, as well as information. So it's a multi-domain effort. And what people are calling phase 2 are saying ground operations, I would tell you is ground operations may become more prominent, but air operations are going to continue throughout this campaign. And in fact, a primary role of ground operations will be to gather intelligence about Hamas's tunnels, their rockets, their command and control, and other key nodes. And then those will be destroyed from the air. So in this sense, ground operations are supporting the air campaign.
I see. And in terms of the strategy, the planning, how much intelligence will they have on the exact locations of the Hamas leadership that they want to take out?
Well, it's an excellent question, and that's one of the reasons that you see probing ground operations, because, you know, it's difficult to ascertain just exactly where Hamas leadership is located unless you can get inside those urban areas and identify where the entrances to the tunnels are, and use other means to identify specifically where they're at. And that's why they're going in on the ground.
Well, let's talk about those tunnels. They have taken a lot of focus. What exactly are these ground forces doing when they locate them? Are they going to go into them and all the risks that go with that? Or is it a case of destroying the entrances to them?
Well, you know, those exact details are answers to questions that the Israeli Defense Force will keep very close hold. But you identified one of the reasons that you got to go in there on the ground, because many of these entrances are located inside other buildings. For example, you know, I just listened to your prior piece that talked about the largest hospital in Gaza. Hamas's major command and control center is located directly underneath that hospital. So to find out exactly where the entrances and exits are located, the Israeli Defense Forces will have to go there and then point them out. What they do with that information is the question that you're asking, and quite frankly, that depends on the exact military objective for that particular tunnel entrance and what it leads to.
I see. And when it comes to protecting civilians, we've heard again the calls for civilians to move from the north to the south from the IDF. What else will be part of the discussions and the decision and the strategy making?
Well, I think it's unfortunate that there are so many people out there that attempt to equivocate Hamas with the Israeli Defense Force. Under the laws of international humanitarian law, they obligate Hamas to avoid locating military objectives within densely populated areas, and also to protect the civilian population that's under their control. Right now, they're in gross violation of these laws. So that's why you hear Israel warning the civilian population to get away from locations where Hamas is located. And I think it's also important to recognize that Hamas intentionally aims to kill civilians, to include Palestinians. That's part of their strategy. Israel does not attack civilians, so there is no moral or any other kind of equivalency, because the use of presence of civilians to render areas or combatant forces immune from attack is a war crime.
David Deptula, retired Lieutenant General, thank you very much for coming on the programme. Thank you.